All right, Bruno, I know that we've been working all day. I think everything
My voice is gone.
Your voice is gone, but yeah, I still have you here. I mean, we have Mike is coming somewhere here.
He's
Mike,
lurking in the
he's
shadows.
lurking.
How you doing, buddy? Good to see you, man.
We're doing the COVID bump. That's what we should call that, the COVID bump. As you can tell, we've had Bruno in doing some new DP products. So
Gotcha.
And he has some exciting news that he told me. So I was privy for once. I was first. So
Yancy's in the know.
I'm in the know now.
Hey, it's good to be number one at least one time
In your life, and one time in your life.
Now that you've hit that mark, it's over, buddy.
It's all downhill from here, buddy. Yancy, fast and quick. Trust
all
me.
downhill.
Well,
It's like when I hit 40, right down off the cliff.
oh, I hear you about that. All right, well, let me go over there. You guys go ahead and tell these guys the good news.
Well, Bruno, what is the good news, since I don't know?
So the good news is 2021 already. Wow, that went by quick. Will be my 10th year representing Autogeek, my racing team. So we just came to an agreement, actually, as everything got finalized this morning, that they'll be back as an associate sponsor of my racing program, and it'll be the 10th year of my association with Autogeek starting in in January.
Congratulations.
Yeah, man, it's pretty exciting. I mean,
Yeah.
usually, gosh, with the world we live, nothing lasts forever.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
doubt.
But 10 years, I think, is a milestone, to say the least, for my association with Autogeek, man. It's something I'm pretty proud of.
Well, I think you've represented the colors really well.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that.
And I know that you've got a lot of fans in the racing world, but you've helped us to grow our reach for the car detailing side, is getting Autogeek out there.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's funny because even today, I still get people ask me, is that me on the front of the car? I mean, it's constantly, that's so cool that
yeah.
Autogeek,
Yeah.
they made the character after you. And
Yeah.
that's not me. I just want to clear the air.
Yeah.
That's Ivan. That's my evil twin. And he
Yeah.
rides on the hood of not only my car, but the Pro Stock car that I had the opportunity to drive this year. So Ivan will be back riding shotgun with me in 2021.
And for anybody that just may not know who Ivan Car Stuff is, that's the Autogeek logo, the cartoon character.
Yeah, you can see him up on the
Yeah,
wall.
it's
right
up
behind
on the wall back here,
Yep.
and it does resemble, Bruno. So a lot. I can see where people could get that confusion. Hey, they created a cartoon character after
Right?
you. Hey, exploit you for everything we can. We're
I think
sponsoring
Yancy one
you.
year for Christmas sent me the bobblehead and had
Yep.
my name put on the bottom of it instead of. And so I told my kids, look, I've got my own bobblehead. I'm big time now.
Yeah, see, I had to keep you in there. Maybe that's the reason why we keep renewing you, because if we lose you, then we're going to have to redo the
You
logo.
have to reveal
so-
the logo completely. Yeah, right?
Yeah, hey, with that kind of investment, we ain't redoing it, so don't go nowhere. Well,
Can you imagine rebranding everything?
Oh man, what a nightmare that would be. And historically, when people try that, it usually blows up in their face.
Right. See, now Autogeek is stuck with me for eternity. Now you just let me in. That's what I keep getting my deal renewed.
You need to make your price go up higher.
Right? I got the inside leverage now.
There you go.
Well, so since we got everybody here, let's. You want to share something what we can look forward to for the 2021 racing season?
Yeah, I mean, exciting stuff. So 2020 was kind of, well, it was 2020. Let's be honest. You know what I mean? We've all just trying to get through it at this point, but we had big aspirations coming in and some different exciting stuff. For me, my racing program changed with the cars that I drive. I tried to kind of scale back a little bit. I've got 4 cars that I compete with. And
Only 4?
Right? My wife tells me I have 3.5 too many. But with the shows I do, fortunate on MotorTrend, I've got the truck show, I've got Garage Squad, all the work that I do with the NHRA on the broadcast side of stuff, it was just too much. You can only wear yourself so thin. So we decided to scale things back and go with my Cobalt, which is a car I've won 2 NHRA World Championships with. But we were going to make the switch and went over to, instead of the 4-cylinder, we went to a Toyota 2JZ motor. All-billet platform that the guys at MazWorks built for me. Garrett Turbo is the latest, greatest of everything. So it's a platform that I've seen many guys with a lot of success and put into my own program. The problem was COVID hit, and you couldn't go test. You couldn't get parts. There was a lot of stuff that really hit stuff back. So this year was the plan all along was to ramp up for 21 as it was. It was just a different shift to make that happen. So in 2021, I'm gonna chase a championship for the first time since I won one in 2012. That was the last one I won, and that was the last year I chased. So I'm gonna go after that full scale next year. And then in 2020, I got the opportunity from a guy named Mark Stockseth, and a guy who's turned into like my brother, gave me the opportunity to drive a Pro Stock car for the first time in 7 years. Growing up, that was my aspiration to drive Pro Stock. Always wanted to do, that was my #1 goal in life. I had the opportunity 7 years ago, and this year I got the opportunity to do it again. We were supposed to do 10 races is what our original agreement was, and COVID hit. So we got scaled back, but was able to make 4 races in Pro Stock, and a wholly different world with electronic fuel injection, completely different animal to drive and get a feel for it. And unfortunately, because of everything that happened, I didn't get a chance to test. We showed up in Indianapolis when we reset.
Yeah.
Haven't been in the car in 7 years.
Yeah.
The way I've never driven a fuel-injected, naturally aspirated car, and I can tell you the throttle is like an on-off switch. It's on or off. There's no in between.
Yeah.
The clutch, a very different feel of the car, and admittedly struggled. The great ones out there make it look easy. Jed Coughlin Jr., Erica Enders, my teammates. I'm part of a 6-car team with Elite Motorsports.
Wow.
They won the championship the last 2 years and finished 1 and 2 the last 2 years. We've won many championships. It's a great organization. And being the new guy in, I've got a lot of people on looking over my shoulder because I'm also working the broadcast while I'm driving the car. So a lot of eyes, a lot of focus, and we excelled really quickly. And then we had issues when I took a break from that team to run my car where people got sick and other things happened, and we had to, the last minute, adjust. And we had a few hiccups along the way. I'm not going to kid you, but 2021, we'll be back behind the wheel of that car at a longer duration. I think I've got my feet wet. I've got some of the cobwebs off, and so we'll run my car for a championship and run that car on a limited basis at both events. So I'll do double duty driving both of those cars at different points throughout 2021.
Well, let's continue to think positive, and hopefully that we can get this COVID behind us going into the new year. Things in the news lately have been sounding good, and that can only be good for all of us.
Oh, 100%. I mean, let's face it, it's a struggle. You know what I mean? You get up and
It's
you're tired of wearing these damn masks. You're tired of doing a lot of things, but we have to do it, right? I mean, we all want to get past and through all this stuff. And I think there's brighter days on the horizon, with, like you said, the stuff with the
vaccines.
The vaccines and all that stuff look promising. The NHRA, for us as a drag racing organization, I represent them with the Fox stuff. We've got a new agreement that'll take us with Fox all the way through 2026. We have a new sponsor, title sponsor in Camping World. So things are really pushing to bigger and better as we move forward. And I think with my association with Autogeek, that has got me to this point, keep pushing it forward, and with the new programs I have in place, I'm excited, man. I'm not only excited to go back at it full time, but just excited to go out and race and compete. It's something
Get back to a normal life.
Yes. You know what I mean?
Your blood,
for me, a normal life is doing burnouts and you know what I mean, and just going and leaving it all out on the line. And I'm looking forward to do that next year.
Well, if we just take a really big view, like they say the 30,000-foot view, life is a series of hills and valleys.
Yep.
So let's just imagine we're down in the bottom of the valley, and it's only up from here.
It has to be, right? It has to be at
Mike
this point.
the philosopher.
It's getting deep over here.
I know, right?
Well, just trying to take that big picture, point of view. So
I love it, man. I love it. So you got to have a positive outlook, and nothing but positive stuff coming in 2021, and I'm excited for it, man. And it's love to have Ivan along for the ride, and you guys and your guys' support. I mean, with Yancy's done so much for me behind the scenes, and you know what I mean, on many levels to help me out. Anytime I have any kind of question about anything, and before I start polishing stuff, you're the guy I call. I was actually telling Yancy my Cobalt this year. I was actually bragging. Wasn't I? I was showing him a picture of my phone. Yeah. The paint job on it's 6-7 years old, and it's pretty badass right now. I'm not going to kid you. It looks good.
Looks good.
I even asked him, I was like, so you put the coating on there and everything, and it's like, does the tire, the shredded tire, the destroyed tire that you peel out, and does it wipe right off? He's like, oh yeah, it falls right off.
You just knock it right off. But the problem is I get into it, I have to do all the steps. I can't,
gosh.
because now I'm into it. So it's like, it was an entire day of doing, by the time I did all the levels of cutting into the polishing, and then put on the coating.
Yep.
And I was, to the T, because that's just how I am once I start. So it was like, I think the whole time of the procedure done, it's like 2 days. It's a race car.
Yeah.
There's a lot of work to be done there.
Yeah.
But now you walk, you lean on it, and you fall on the ground. One of those situations.
Welcome to your new, I guess, disease, I guess. I'm sorry.
But, burnout rubber doesn't stand a chance. You just literally knock it off as you walk by.
Coatings are really unique. Back in the old days, they'd always talk about if you went and bought a new car, they're going to say, we're going to put a sealant on your car, and it was a snake oil.
Yeah.
And nowadays, when they say they're going to put a really high-performance product in your car, it's the real deal. These coatings are the real deal, whether it's on a tire, on a leather seat, or on the paint. And but I know just enough about the racing world with my background to know that you probably have the most detailed car on the track.
Right now I do. There's no doubt about it.
Most of these guys are really just what I call the bolt-on guys. They're just focused on bolting it together and keeping it together.
So here's where all the things are going to go. Depending on how much they lock us down back at home over this winter, there's a good chance I might do the inside of the fender wells.
Wow.
Because here's the thing. So we honestly, every so many races, I'll go up there with a scraper, take the wheels and tires off up in the air, and I'll scrape off 7 pounds of burnout of tire rubber on the inside of the firewall. Yeah. And it's a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
I figure if I do the coating on the inside of it, I might be the first one to do this and call me crazy, but I'm a little type A. I think it'll just fall off. I don't think I even have to get up and do that because it's just a worse shot because it's all in you. It's in your hair. It's in my bed then when I go to bed at night. I mean, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think if I do the inside on the carbon fiber, the wheel tubs, do them with the coating, I think there's something there.
You never know. It might be that it fall off and give you a little bit of traction. It might do something for you.
There's
Hold
something
on.
there.
Bruno's fender well racing coating.
Oh yeah, we need to do that.
I'll be a service. You can rent me out. I'll go to your facility and do this.
A new product.
No. Do not reach out. I'm not doing that.
Yes, he will.
But I think I might do it on my car though. I think it's crazy enough. It might work. My idea.
Yeah.
7 pounds of burnout rubber. It's a lot.
That is a lot, especially when
that's
you're
a lot.
talking like fractions of a second. That could be a fraction of a
It
second.
piles up.
I never thought that would be that much tire. I mean, that's like
Well, what you could do is just do one fender well, and then see how that cleans
see how it
compared to
that would be your test spot. Is that
That's
what
the
you
test
said?
be a
spot and see
test
how it
spot.
airs
But
out.
I think I'm with Bruno. Once you're there and it's already dirty, you might as well just continue. So what else is going on with you? You have your face is everywhere. So I mean, you got I know what I just thought of this. I think Fox, they should let you do actual live down the track footage.
Well, you might be onto something there. So we're trying to put the piece of the puzzle together now. And we were supposed to be this year, but because of COVID. In 2020 it didn't happen. But doing actual in-race reporting. So what we're gonna probably have worked out for 2021 is that the events that I'm racing and driving at, I'll be live mic'd and be able to talk directly to Brian, who's our play-by-play guy in the booth, as I approach the water box, as I stage the car, so I can give. Literally let him know
what
I
I'm
have
doing.
Conversation, and he'll hear me cuss and everything else if things don't go right. And we scream and yell like a girl when things do go right inside the car and the other end when the parachutes come out. But I think the whole idea is to give people at home some real insight as to what it's like going on inside the car. Other than the unfortunate part of our sport of drag racing is it's really hard for the person at home to get to that same point as they are on the track. I mean, you can't smell it, right?
Yeah,
You
right.
can't feel it as it shakes your heart. But if you give a little inside perspective to what it's actually like going down the racetrack, going through the burnout procedure, the staging procedure and everything,
The shifting, all that
you'll
stuff.
understand it a little bit better, So I think that's something that we're going to try and push forward to do in 2020, and I think it'll be a lot of fun.
Question, fun fact.
Yeah.
What G's do you guys pull off the starting line?
About 3.4 Gs at launch.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's more than my Prius.
It might be slightly more than the Prius. It might not get as good as gas mileage. Well, but hey, there we go.
So where else are you on? I mean, you're on MotorTrend.
Yeah.
Are you any other?
Yeah, well,
networks?
so right now for MotorTrend, we actually tonight we have Garage Squad, another episode premiering tonight on Garage Squad, which is actually a pretty good one. It's a big Suburban we did. Cool
that's
project.
up your alley,
yeah,
Mike.
it's right up your alley. So we did for people who own a School of Rock. It was a vehicle, it's a gig vehicle for the school. It's a pretty exceptional transformation you'll see. Great family, great people. We had a lot of the kids from the School of Rock out there, which made it a lot of fun. We had a band. It was actually pretty awesome.
That's cool.
So that'll premiere tonight on 9/8 Central on MotorTrend. We still got Truck U airing on Saturday and Sunday mornings. I think you can always catch an NHRA broadcast delayed on FS1 or Fox. But this is actually my downtime as we start ramping up towards 2021. I get to do stuff like come out of the Midwest and come down here to Florida and have some fun.
Escape the cold to come
Get
to
a little
the Lord.
sun. As you can tell, I could use a little color. And start ramping up for my racing program. I've been telling Yancy a few minutes ago that I spent the last 3 weeks that I've been off working on camshafts and different turbo configurations with Garrett on trying to make a better mousetrap with my turbo combination for next year. It's like you can never stop trying to find that extra bit. You know what I mean? You always got to keep pushing forward. So I'm very type A, and that's all I do. I spent a solid week and actually went backwards, which was very frustrating and humbling, but you learn what not to do as you move forward. You got to take those lumps.
Actually, I got a question right here from one of the people, Sean Daves. Any tips for improving reaction times?
Focus. You make everything the same is the biggest thing is. So from the time you get into the car to make sure you sit comfortably in the car to the way everything you do is the way you sit and feel, because if you're comfortable, you're relaxed enough and you'll focus on nothing but the tree. The whole idea is to think of nothing. I used to do stuff, I took it to a whole different level back when I was chasing championships. I would try it. We race a lot during the mid days of the summer where it's hot and humid. And a lot of people couldn't wait to get out of the car. That's all they care about. They were dying. They wanted to get out of the car. So I would go run the middle of the day at 3 o'clock in the afternoon with a hoodie on and a sweatsuit to try and get my heart rate up as high as I could. And I would go into my basement where I have a simulator, my own modified version, a tree with you can buy those little delay box through Jegs or Summit. I'd have strobe lights going, all kinds of crazy music, and get myself to focus on the tree and be able to react the same as I would as I was sitting normal. And you get to a point where you're able to block all that stuff out, it all depends on how hard you want to push and how much it means to you, you know. So if it made a difference where I could sit in a car comfortably when it's 100 degrees, 100% humidity, the guy I'm racing couldn't wait to get out, I like my odds.
Yeah.
So, and then it allows you to focus on the tree where you're able to remove all those exterior things, you know, heat, humidity, being fatigued, and focus on what you're doing. When you've got strobe lights and music and other kinds of things, of distractions, it's all about just blocking out everything else around you.
So you're probably like the TV shows when they show them and they get in the car, then all of a sudden everything just shrinks up and all you're seeing is just the thing? Is that what you
When you're in the zone, you don't even notice the trees coming. You don't even think about it. If you have to think, look at the tree, focus on the tree, you're going to suck.
Done.
You're done. It just has to come as habit. It has to be natural. And it becomes repetitions where, like with the Pro Stock car, my friend Jag Coughlin, he gave me his simulator, which I took for probably too long because of COVID. I couldn't give it back to him. And I made reps after reps after reps in that thing. And you don't get the feel of leaving the car, but you get the reps of the motion, your shift points, to reacting to the bulb with your clutch pedal or the trans brake button, and making mental runs all the way down the racetrack. I even made the noises in my head because that gave me, when I step on, as you come up, and you got to try and put yourself in that place. My kids will laugh like, Dad, what are you doing down there?
You're probably on TikTok.
I'm sure. I'm sure. My kids love TikTok videos these days. But that's what it comes down to is you've got to give yourself as a real look as you can when you can't be in the car, because unlike throwing a football outside the house, it's not that easy to make reps in a race car or even your street car you're taking it to make runs down a drag racing track. It just isn't that, it's not that easy as accessible. So you got to try and do what you can to try and simulate those situations.
I hope that answered your question there, Sean. No, that's cool. I mean, I've always wondered that. Like the movies, they always broadcast like they get in the car. They have the dramatic music, and all of a sudden everything blurs out except for that one little thing.
There's a lot of drivers who'll take their visors as you flip them down. They'll have them blocked off with have logos or whatever, and cut it down here, and where you almost have a spot this big to open up to. I get claustrophobic. It bothers me because I'll be wide open, and as you go in, you flip it down, and I feel like the world goes like this. Also, I'm worried about you lose to the point where you lose where you're at on the track. I mean, if you want to go see, you can see. It just bothers me not getting my peripheral. Some people are good with it, and they say it removes everything else, so it brings everything here. You have no choice but to be here. I'm more worried about I'd rather be late or miss the tree and keep the car in one piece because I didn't lose track of where I was at tracking down the track.
Gotcha.
And for me, I don't have a lot of runs in those cars, so it's a different comfort level. Like my friend Jeg, who's done it a gazillion times, he could sleepwalk and make a perfect run. He's that talented, and he's just that routine. Somebody like me who's still getting a feel for the car at that speed, the shift points, I want to see everything that's going on around me. You know what I mean? I want as wide a picture as I can see.
Well, that probably comes down to everybody has their own different disciplines.
Yep.
And some people could excel at blocking out their peripheral vision, while others, that's going to be a part of the whole picture that they need to see.
Right.
I'd be more like you. I'd want to see a little bit of everything going on. Focus on, have the discipline to be focused on what's important, though.
Is that what happens to you when you go polish out a car? You just kind of
you got to find the zone in the polish.
In
the swirl.
There is a zone you get into, yeah.
No, so, I got in it this spring. I'm telling you, I did. I was all into it. It was cool stuff. And I'd look back, and I'd take a and then I get mad because I'd find a different light because you never sent me the swirl finder. So I was on my own.
We need to get you one then.
And in Chicago, you don't get a whole lot of sunshine during the winter.
If you don't have the light, you don't got to please it.
That's true.
So, some people say to me, "Hey, Mike, no matter what I try, I just can't get the paint perfect. I can't please the light." And I go, "It's real simple. Get rid of the light. Hey, now the paint looks pretty good."
But when you roll it outside, you'll be all kinds of angry. If you know what I mean? Because you'll see it then.
Don't take it outside. See, I got an answer for everything.
He got it covered.
We have Emmanuel. He's sitting there saying fender well detailing classes. He loves it.
See, I just got a whole new world I just opened up for you.
Yeah, you can teach it in all your classes.
To tell you the truth, fender well detailing is a thing, and but nobody likes to do it, because the tires and the wheels in the way. Some guys get to the point to where they're, jacking the car up, taking the wheels and tires off. But when you get to that level, it gets a lot more complicated because now you got to get the torque settings. You got to have a, good torque wrench.
Right.
It just gets a lot more complicated, and you want to make sure you got the right insurance too. So if I take your wheels and tires off your car and then I bolt them back on and then you leave here and drive down the road and die, who are you going to sue?
Well, I wouldn't sue anybody, but my whole family's coming after you.
Yeah. Right. So the off-wheel detailing gets really complicated. But yeah, that is a thing. Yours is a little bit more extreme with the rubber peeling off the tires.
It is. So. It is an extreme scenario, but I'm telling you, there's a market for it.
Yeah. Well, you know, one of the companies actually brought out a product for getting rid of the rubber off the side of the back of your car.
Really?
Yeah, so there's obviously a market for it. There's a product for that. I think it's like an oil-based product. You spray it on there, and it kind of dissolves everything, but not the paint. And
right.
then you just scrape everything off.
What kind of magic voodoo juice
Oh, it's
is
Griot's.
Yeah, right?
Griot's Garage brought that
they
out.
really?
Yeah. Yeah,
Because there's so many stuff, it just smears it makes it worse, and you can run into all kinds of issues. Now I just knock it off
Yeah.
as I walk by.
They gave it to me to test, but the problem is that I didn't have Bruno's car here. So
Oh, that's it.
There we go.
And nobody at work here has a car that leaves rubber on the back part of the fender. So
Well, that could be a problem in its own right there.
yeah, Dad.
You know, we need to fix that, Yancy.
Yeah.
I think you're on the cusp, am I right?
I am on the cusp. It is, as soon as Dodge opens it up, it's mine. I'm telling you. My dealer already knows. So
I think that you bring it up to up north and leave it there for a while. I think I can make that happen for you at some point or another.
That works?
Warranties will be officially voided, though.
Yeah, I know.
Thrown right out the window.
That's my son.
Along with catalytic converters, every emission device possible.
Yeah, my son, he goes, Dad, why don't you do anything to your car that you have right now? I'm just like, because I like the warranty. He's like, well, if you touch something, that means that you. I was like, yeah, if I touch something, that means I get nothing. If I ruin it, it's nothing coming back to me.
It's on you, buddy.
It's all on me.
Uh-huh.
No, we just got people saying that they've been watching you for a while. They've been seeing you on TV. They remember you from a TV program. Which one they didn't put, but what do you call it? They've said that. But no, just everybody's having a good time. Glad to see
appreciate
you.
you guys watching, really do. And
we
support Autogeek.
We have James Cammy, Griot's. It works. How do you? Hold on, let me put that up, Jamie. Jamie, how do you know that it works? Are you doing something wrong? Oh, question. I got a question. Bruno, does any street car feel fast to you? I've always wondered that.
God, good question. What impresses you?
Not really. I'm going to be quite honest. I mean, and I'm not being,
But
arrogant in saying that. It just, I have fun with street cars. Don't get me wrong. Like my dad's got a 55 or 57 Chevy we redid a few years ago, and it's got an LS motor in it. That's a 528 crate motor, and it's fast, and it is for what it is. And you can have fun and chirp the tires, and you can have fun with it. But it just, I'm never going to replicate that feel. You know what I mean? Of what we go through in a quarter of a mile, and God forbid, I wouldn't want to do that on the street. I mean, it just. It's not good for anybody. And if you put that kind of power underneath my foot, you get that itch, and you just want to, if it's there, you want to use it.
What about the new C8 Corvette? Have you driven one of those?
I haven't driven one. Believe it or not, I haven't driven one.
I've driven a couple. They're impressive.
Oh, I'm sure they are.
They're really impressive for something that you can buy, turn the key, and just go.
My friend, a good friend, had one of the first Mercedes with the twin turbos that came over here to the States. And I believe it was out on the road in front of here. Allegedly, I got it to 140 and stopped with the ceramic brakes before we went into the boatyard.
Well,
and he was hanging on for dear life, sitting alongside of me, and going, brake, 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 brake. I got this. And brought it back down again. But it was pretty fun. I mean, I've had fun in them, but I mean, just, nothing's gonna give you the same rush that we
well,
get in
you
a
got to
race
think.
car.
You're going. What is your car?
Well, depending on
The Cobalt. How much is the Cobalt?
The Cobalt, we've gone 675 and a quarter miles, from 0 to 675 and 208 miles.
How many horsepower?
1,450.
1,400. How much is the Pro Stock?
It's right about the same.
Right about the same.
Yep. It's just a different way of getting there. Naturally aspirated 500 cubic inches versus 180 with a turbo.
And how many cubic inches?
180 cubic inches with a big turbo on it. Yeah.
That's a huge discrepancy for the same amount of horsepower.
It is.
Wow.
That's what's so crazy about all these power adders and these. And that's where you see all the stuff on the street. It all, like for me, started with the 4-cylinder stuff. Like GM came out with that Cobalt, and they had coming from the Cavalier to a smaller motor in the new car, the Cobalt. And they're like, we got to make this cool because it's got to have something that has some kind of substance to a younger generation, right? Mm-hmm. So they took an engine, and the goal was to make 250 horsepower. Well, by the time that they gave them to us and people like me that worked on those projects, and I wasn't the sole, but I got to play a role in it. We made 1,400 horsepower and a production-based engine that was meant to make 180. You know what I mean? But so
There's
now
life in there.
So now you've got something that's you can drive on the street, and that technology bounces back and forth. We excel from that, and they take that back to the production stuff. Is that you've got an engine that you can drive around and get 40 miles to the gallon, and when you step on a throttle, you got 300 horsepower. I mean,
right.
You know what I mean? That's what the trade-off is. Where before you'd have to have a big Hemi.
Right.
And that's the only way you're going to do it is a big honking V8 in it. Well, now you can do it with 108, like example, my 2JZ motor that combination put together. Guys out here, the record for that car is they made 3,500 horsepower out of 183 cubic inches. The car has gone from 0 to 270 in 5.5 seconds.
Holy crap.
Wow.
I mean, that's legit.
That's impressive.
That's legit.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's some serious shit going on, okay?
I'm impressed.
You know, but that's what you can do with power adders and the technology, how far fuel injections come.
Just
it's awesome.
Squeezing every little bit of horsepower out of
All you do is
every
call
cubic
Garrett and
inch.
say, I want more boost.
Right. So there's two camps. There's either the supercharger or there's the turbo. You're the turbo guy.
I'm a turbo guy, and from the small motor stuff I see, and it's nothing about superchargers. I have a supercharged Copo. I have two of them. You know, love them. Mm-hmm. It's a different sound, a different feel. To be honest with you, I love them all because I get goosebumps talking about all of them because it's a different kind of angle. It's a different kind of feel. But the turbocharger stuff, I mean, it goes from nothing. You drive it around, you didn't really know the thing's running. And then all of a sudden you hear it whistle, and whistles when it's got boost. And holy shit, you better hold on.
Then you're like, oh, hey, I got power.
Yeah, it's pretty sick when this thing spools up and when it goes. You know what I mean? You all know you're a badass when you drive around a Copo and you're a supercharger and you're romping the throttle. Yep. You know what I mean? Yep. You don't have to do that with a turbo.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like the silent assassin type thing, you know?
I got another question for you, Sean Daves again. How do you keep it together, emotions, during the reveals on Garage Squad?
Man, some are tough. We just had one that just aired last week. No one kept it together. I mean, you become part of these families, and a lot of them, you know, I shouldn't say a lot of, but there's a number of them that have tragedies, and that's why we're there, is someone had submitted it because they want us to help kind of put a smile on that person's face, or build a car, or help them finish a car that was meant as a tribute to someone who they lost. We just did the one I speak of last week. A guy lost his 7-year-old daughter in a tragic accident in his backyard. And we built this Mustang for him. And man, we cried it probably every day. You know, and at the end, when it comes together, it's like there's certain things you do to try and as remembrances, keepsakes that are put on the car, and the emotion when the family stand out and see that car roll out with that person and the dad, and there's still his 2 daughters and his 1 son who's there, and this is remembrance of their sibling they lost, man. It's emotional for everybody because you're there 7 days a week, or first 7 days, basically we're there 12 hours a day, all day, 14 hours a day, and you become part of that family.
Right.
And you kind of feel that emotion. You never know what they've been through, but you can empathize and you feel that for them.
You're part of the healing process.
Yeah, you know, and it's emotional, man. It takes a lot. I mean, you wear that, you know, every day, and so yeah, we cry like babies on that show more often than not. And I'm not too proud to say it. It means that much to you because you know you're leaving somebody in a better place
care
than
about
when you
what you
started.
do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know.
It's a passion.
It is.
I got another one here. Big old dog. What was your favorite build project and why?
On Garage Squad, I'm sure you're referring to. For me, just because it fits my wheelhouse, is we did a nostalgia funny car for a guy. It was a Nova.
That, yeah.
It was badass. It was a guy who just ate up drag racing and didn't have the means to do it on his own and didn't necessarily have the skill set. He'd been around it forever, helped all his friends. He and his wife saved up every penny they had to purchase what they had to put this thing together. And it was nasty. It was, you know, blown alcohol engine. It was rude and crude and in all the best ways, you know what I mean? So I got to test drive it and break it in for him. And it was a lot of fun, you know what I mean? Just because that's kind of my wheelhouse. We did a truck that I think, I could say the close second was a truck, big lifted pickup truck.
Mike, your truck.
Yeah, big lifted pickup truck. We put twin turbos on it, and we had a field to where we flooded it and truly mudded this truck.
Yeah.
And actually, the owner, when he got into his test drive, flipped the truck.
Whoa.
No.
First time out. But here's the best part. This is how cool this dude is. He went and got a Bobcat, flipped it back over, and still drove it to 2 in the morning, mud bogging the thing. That's
attaboy.
awesomeness right there.
That's like, yeah.
That is awesomeness right there.
Yeah.
I seen a license plate on the back of a Jeep recently. It was a split word. So the top read correctly problem, and then it had the word problem the other way
Right.
too. So
If it was upside down. Oh,
no,
it
said
upside down.
problem, no problem, problem. Yeah, so the car's upside down and it reads problem. It's kind of funny.
Let's go.
This next question, I think, is we got time for just a couple more questions. Then Bruno's got to get out of here. I got to get out of here. But let's go here. Bruno, now with new electric cars, will we see racing now all silently competing, all the change from gas powered? So what do you feel about electric coming over into the...
I think there's a place for it, definitely, because I'm not an electric car guy. I like the smell of a car, you know, smell of fumes, you know what I mean? I like the sound. The sound means a lot to me, you know what I mean? You feel when you drive, you step on the gas. But there's definitely a place for it, and let's be honest. You've seen how fast like these Teslas are.
Oh,
and
God,
a lot
yeah.
of these, I mean, they're sick.
I don't mess with them.
You know, in drag race world, you know, last year there was an e-Copo. I'm sorry, 19 that they came out with, a complete electric Copo Camaro. And this year, the Fords came out with a Mustang that was completely electric, and the thing went low 8s at 168 miles an hour. Okay, there's a place for it. You know what I mean? And I say let's find a place to come compete with the current stuff we're doing, current with the regular internal combustion engine motors, and let's give everybody a place to race because it's some pretty cool shit. When you look inside of what these things are and how the technology there, it's overwhelming. It's almost like a rocket ship, you know what I mean? And you need like 19 people to come and check these things out. But as the stuff develops, it'll become more commonplace where you can bring your Tesla or your modified, because let's put it this way, they're all going to have a race or a performance version coming out in the future. You know what I mean? That's where things are headed.
Well, even the new Hummer, the electric Hummer's fast.
Yeah.
So I mean, lifts itself up, it crab walks.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So there's a place. There's a place for it. So bring them out. You know what I mean? It's might not suit anybody, but some people might not like what I do. You know what I mean? So I think there's a place, and I think it's some cool stuff. And I just like that people are out there racing, competing, and they're still car guys and finding a way to utilize new technology into our industry.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And with that question, I think I'm going to end it because it is 3:30. I have to go get my daughter. Sorry, people. I have to go be a parent. And Bruno's got to take off. He's got a dinner tonight, and I got to get him out of here before rush hour. So, Mike, what are we doing this Thursday?
Oh, we have a very special live broadcast. We're doing Dr. Color Chip Rock Chip Repair.
And so that will be Thursday. So we
And we have the president of Dr. Color Chip is going to be here. So instead of learning it from me, we're going to go right to
we're going to source.
Well, we're going to go right to the source. See, this guy is the expert. So I just get to play interviewer kind of thing and let him do the hard work. I'll probably have to clean the floor when we're done. That's my normal job.
You mean like I have to do today?
Yeah, that's right.
That was part of this deal that I have to do this?
Yeah, I want everything cleaned up before you leave.
Oh, wait a minute. I have one more question. Hey, guys, who does the detailing on the Garage Squad's builds?
We do. We do. I mean, we've had in the seasons past. There's a couple situations we were so backed up. We brought in local guys, and they did a great job. I think there was 2 or 3 builds we did. We brought in some people who just knocked it out after hours. Unfortunately, it wasn't part of the production because you can only shoot so late into the night. But on a regular basis, we do. Jeff King, there's Kingster as we call him. He does 90% of it. He's a paint guy, and he's pretty talented.
Good. And for last thing I'm going to ask you is if people want to follow you, reach out to you, where can they find you at?
My social channels, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Bruno Massel. Just that simple.
That's easy, people. Yep. You can turn around and look him up, follow him. He is going places and going fast. All right, Mike, you good?
I'm good. We're done.
All right, we're done.
All right, guys. Have a good one. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here, Bruno.
Buddy.